Happy 2019, everybody, and welcome to Critical Junction, episode 54. I'm Mark.
I'm Luke.
I'm Jill.
And in 1890, businessman Elijah Bond filed a U.S. patent for a planchette and a board with the alphabet printed on it that was similar to other such boards used in the spiritualist movement of the late 1800s. This early patent would later become what we know today as the modern Ouija board. Also referred to as a spirit board or a talking board, the Ouija board consists of a flat board upon which the English alphabet is printed, along with yes and no in the top left and right corners respectively, the numbers 1 through 9 followed by a 0 at the bottom, and the word goodbye below that. Placing their fingers on a small heart-shaped piece of wood or other pointing device, participants use the board to quote-unquote channel spirits, resulting in the pointer seemingly moving on its own under the influence of these spirits in order to spell out words and answer questions from the beyond. Or so the myth goes. Now under patent by Parker Brothers, sold by Toys R Us or other fine purveyors of infernal occult devices that result in eternal damnation, and recommended for players over the age of 8, the board is anything but supernatural. The pointer, in fact, moves as a result of the psychophysiological phenomenon known as the ideomotor reflex, as was demonstrated as far back as 1853 by Michael Faraday, and later reproduced by countless studies. Simply put, the ideomotor reflex describes the process by which a thought or mental image brings about a seemingly reflexive or unconscious muscular reaction, and was first described in an 1852 paper by William Benjamin Carpenter. This process has been repeatedly demonstrated as the cause of many spiritual or paranormal forces or so-called energies. And yet, the Catholic Church, among many other religious organizations, continues to denounce this harmless piece of wood and cardboard as a gateway to demonic possession, considering it a form of divination. And according to Wikipedia, fundamentalist groups in Alamogordo, New Mexico burned the Ouija boards in Harry Potter books in 2001 as symbols of quote-unquote witchcraft. So, is the Ouija board a portal to the spirit world, as many oft-debunked spiritualists and occultists have claimed, or is it a simple, harmless bit of fun? Let's talk about that, shall we?
Well, we've got this board, and none of us believe in the supernatural at all. So we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yes, and in the best bit of potential radio drama, we've created a spirit board for ourselves, and eventually we're gonna test out the theory and see what it does.
Yeah.
So what is this phenomenon, this psychological phenomenon that you're talking about?
It's called the ideomotor reflex.
I was going to be like, idiot something?
Ideomotor
the idiot motor reflex.
effect.
So basically, you move stuff unconsciously.
Yeah.
Is what it boils down to.
Right, okay.
So if an image in your mind influences unconsciously the reflexes of your muscles.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways to test this, to prove that it's the ideomotor effect that's doing it and not spirits that are moving the planchette for you.
Okay.
So Mark mentioned Faraday had come up with some methods to test it. What he did, he stacked some pieces of paper or cardboard together, and then just like tied together with a string, and you put your fingers on top of that little stack of cardboard paper and put that on top of the planchette itself. So if the planchette is being moved by spirits, then basically you'll see the planchette underneath the stack of cardboard pulling ahead of your fingers, which are on top of the paper that's on top of it. I don't know if I'm describing it enough to picture it. If, on the other hand, your fingers are what's moving the planchette, then what you're going to see is that your fingers are first going to move the top pieces of cardboard and paper.
Which is exactly what happens.
And then you'll see the planchette underneath be pulled along. So you'll see like the stack of paper is like this, and if you're pushing with your finger, the top paper is going to move first and the planchette is going to follow.
Right.
If it's the planchette that's being moved by a spirit, then you'll see the planchette go like this, and then your fingers are going to follow.
For anyone who can't see you at the moment, can you describe what this
I'm holding one hand on top of the other, and I'm describing the top hand moving in one direction while the bottom hand
translating
follows later.
To you're going to move some cardboard rather than the thing that you're supposed to be moving.
That's it. Right. So you can that's a very clever way to test whether the planchette is moving or pulling your hands along, or whether your hands are moving the planchette.
Right. And these are tests that have been repeated over like close to 200 years now.
Sure. Well, no, not close to 200 years, because the thing that I've found kind of frustrating in looking through this stuff to learn about the Ouija board is that everybody is like talking about it as if it's like at least 2 centuries of history here going on, when there's barely more than a century. The first actual Ouija board was patented. We just looked it up in 1890.
Yeah, I'm talking about the ideomotor reflex. That
was
tested a long time ago.
So, but Ouija boards themselves, they're not really that old. They're actually totally a modern era thing.
Yeah, late 1800s.
And yet there's this mysticism about them, and everybody treats them as if they're like kind of ancient.
The Ouija board itself is more or less recent, like stemming from the late 1800s, late 1800s. But there's some evidence to suggest that as far back as like the 1100s, people were using similar types of talking spirit boards or whatever, but not in the way that we know the Ouija board now. Mm-hmm. So it does have its origins like a lot further back in time. But the actual Ouija board,
not that much further back in time. Like still just in the mid 18th century, 19th century. The
Ouija board that we recognize today has its roots in the spiritualist movement of the mid to late 1800s. Yeah. Early 1800s is when the spiritualist movement kind of started taking off with like H.P. Blavatsky and all that. But you're right. The Ouija board itself is more or less recent. It's kind of like a modern occurrence. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have roots in antiquity. It doesn't go back to the ancient Egyptians or any of that shit. It's like at the very, very latest, we can trace its origins to the 1100s with like talking boards and all that kind of shit. But like you said, 1800s-ish is when we get the first recognizable Ouija boards. Either way, they're still bullshit.
Well, I mean, they're bullshit to us. I'm still always, because I don't believe in the supernatural or anything like that. I'm always curious about the unconscious and what our unconscious can do and the tricks that the unconscious can play on us. Our unconscious. I say the unconscious, but I'm curious about that. And we have met people that do take this seriously.
Yes.
Like, and I'm thinking of those ghost guys.
The ghost guys.
With the ghost hunters?
The ghost hunters, like, they would suggest you don't mess with this kind of shit. Like, this is dangerous.
Right. I remember when we did our first ghost hunt with them, and I was telling the story of
OPRI?
I was telling my story of the Ouija board, quote-unquote, incident I had as a kid, contacting the spirit of a supposedly 11-year-old girl and shit. And they're like, repeat the story.
Repeat the story, yeah.
Because it's appropriate for this episode. But I was with a friend of mine in my backyard back in Elmer, and we were messing around with the Ouija board, and we made contact, supposedly, with...
was it a Parker Brothers Ouija board?
It was a Parker Brothers Ouija board that we purchased at Toys R Us, conveniently enough. And we made contact with what we think, or what the board supposedly tells us is this 11-year-old girl named Emily, right? And so we ask for proof that she actually exists or can influence reality or whatever. Just like, okay, prove that you're who you say you are. And we get nothing for a little while, so we end the board session and go about our business. And a few hours later, my dad, who had been completely out of earshot for this entire thing, asks us, "Did she find you?" I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Well, there was this 11-year-old girl who came to the house asking for you two. Did you find her?
Did she give him a birth certificate when she showed up at the door?
I don't know if whatever.
She was 11. Her name was Emily.
Yeah, but the point is, my dad describes something similar to the supposed spirit that we had encountered using the Ouija board. So I'm telling this story to the OPRI guys, and they're like, "Oh fuck, you shouldn't have done that," and yada yada yada. Right?
Oh yeah.
So I don't know.
Hold on. This is still a great story.
Yeah, it is a good story.
It is a good story. Yeah.
my dad could have been pranking us for the whole thing. I don't like. Yeah. As far as I know,
right. Was your dad watching you guys?
Does your dad have a pranky bone in his body?
Yes.
Okay.
But as far as I know, and I could be wrong, he was not within earshot of what was happening.
Okay.
But he could have been. But I asked him.
Did it freak you out?
Yes.
It scared the shit out of you.
We were like 13 or something.
I remember that.
Right? Or maybe a little bit. Yeah, around that age. So
that's how old I was when I first...
I think everybody around that age starts fucking around with the occult. I don't know what it is about it, but... Anyway, again, I could have been totally mistaken about his whereabouts, and he could have overheard what we were doing and just decided to fuck with us. I asked him about this, and he doesn't remember it at all, because, could have just been one of these arbitrary pranks that he pulled on us.
Also, does it really make sense? Did she find you? So he's at the door.
Yeah.
He didn't let her
And he's
inside the
like
house.
telling some random kid to go find you guys?
Yeah.
He didn't let her into the house.
No.
So how would she have found you? Like the whole, it doesn't really.
Because we were in the backyard. Like,
Oh, you're in the
yeah,
backyard.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he said, yeah, just go around the house.
Yeah. Kind of thing.
Out back. Okay.
I see. Right away, I was like, if you guys were in the house, I mean, there's no way she's gonna find you.
Right.
Yeah.
Either he let her in or he didn't.
Yeah, so that's my Ouija story, and like I said, the OPRI guys are like, don't fuck with this shit. Of course, it was a small girl because demons take the form of small children because they're all innocent, and that's the best way for them to fuck with you. Kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So legend has it that demons pretend they're little girls and
That's
innocent
why so
children
many
and
B
stuff like that.
movies use this same motif of the
Right.
little girl as the demon.
Well, and we have people close to us that
That are little girls.
that are
and
little
are
girls
demonic.
and are demonic.
Demonic little girls.
But I was gonna say, I have a girlfriend who's afraid of Ouija boards.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Jill.
I
your
also
wife.
have a lady friend who's afraid of Ouija boards.
Yeah.
And,
Really?
She would have joined us here today for recording the podcast if it weren't for the fact that we were doing it on Ouija boards.
Really?
And I'm gonna say
Fascinating.
they don't want to. I'm gonna say that my girlfriend does not want to talk about it because I'm gonna say she probably just feels stupid having this minute fear, this sensitivity to this kind of shit. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I did spend a good part of my morning constructing this makeshift Ouija board that we're going to use.
It looks very
and
nice.
fuck with. Oh, thank
Nice
you.
angle to the letters and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I had a picture of a Ouija board beside me when I was putting it together, so tried to replicate it as best I could.
Traditionally, they suggest it should be a male and female energy, if I understand correctly.
What does that mean?
Well, from what I understand,
Yeah, in the early days when they were promoting this kind of
What's that
stuff, they
mean?
were saying there were rules that were established for how best
fucking with
to
beyond.
use the Ouija board and how best to
when
communicate with the
contacting
great
demons
beyond.
and the
Yeah.
dead,
It's like a user manual.
do this.
When contacting the dead.
But that's right. One of the things was that you should have like two people of the opposite sex
Why is
doing
that?
it, and you have to have a minimum of two people.
So what's the reasoning behind
Well, first of all, the reasoning was you have to have two people, and you have to make sure that when your fingers are on the planchette, your fingers are touching, but also your knees have to be touching.
what the fuck? Like,
Well, what it had to do with was like friggin' repression in the 1800s, and
Right.
people being all titillated about getting to touch knees
So
with
really-
a girl.
So it's more of a sexual thing than anything else.
I
It's
think
like
so.
it's an excuse for you to get comfortable with the opposite sex because of this
Yeah.
this sense of repression going about the Victorian.
You have
era
a
kind of thing.
pretense under which you get to touch knees.
That is brilliant. Kudos to those people for coming up with those sexual overture rules using the Ouija board. I love it.
God knows how hot it is to touch knees.
Oh, she's showing an ankle.
No.
Jill just moved our makeshift planchette to no. Right. So, do you guys have a Ouija board story similar to my creepy one?
I do not have any experiences with the Ouija board working or anything like that. I do have memories of trying it as a kid. Like I'm saying
Did you
kid, but I
did you
think
get yours at Toys R Us like the rest of us?
I don't know where we got it or anything like that.
I actually I remember more the going to Toys R Us and picking it off the shelf. Like I have the image in my mind very clearly. I remember that more clearly than I do actually playing it.
That's pretty funny. But yeah, no, I think you're right. Like, aside from the story I just told, the only other prominent image or memory I have of the Ouija board is finding it at Toys R Us and purchasing it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's really funny that the supposed, tool to your eternal damnation is available readily for people 8 and up at Toys R Us. Like, you can be 8 years of age or older to damn your soul.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like,
How old was Bart when he sold his soul for $5 to Millhouse?
Oh, man. Well, how old is Bart, period?
He's always that age. He's been that age forever.
That's right.
And he does gets his soul back at the end of that.
Yeah,
that
then he
episode, I'm pretty
swallows the piece of paper that he wrote his soul down on. So. But you were telling your story there.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't really have a story about the Ouija board. I just remember using it, and I think it did turn into more so like some sort of attraction thing. And I seem to remember more so the girl stuff that was going on at that time.
You know what? Actually, you're right. When we were playing it, I do remember that we were playing with like a small group of boys and girls when I was in like 6th grade, and at one point my friend's little brother was there and my little sister were there, and they were both in the same age, and so like part of the game was about like making the board say that they're gonna be boyfriend and girlfriend and this kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
so the Ouija board is another variation of spin the bottle in a way.
Pretty much. That's,
right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, true. I remember some girl sucking on my fingers, and I was like, "What's happening?"
Wait,
here?
whoa! I want to hear that story. Can we talk about that for a second? Fuck the Ouija board. Let's talk about your finger sucking.
No, I don't think it went anywhere. I was a little kid.
Okay.
I shoulda, woulda, coulda. I just didn't. I wasn't interested in that kind of stuff back then, I guess.
Wow.
But I'm still interested in.
It's okay. Let's just drop a nuclear bomb.
Well, I'm still interested in the. I'm still interested.
This isn't exclusive, folks.
I'm still interested in the unconscious here. So the things that we don't understand. Like I'm thinking of even that supernatural fest that we went to. What was that thing called?
Yeah.
Paracon.
Okay, so and we walk in,
and just for the record, no disrespect to OPRI or any of these guys.
No, absolutely not. I love getting a chance to.
Well, knowing you guys, I know right away that we go in and we're hearing the first speaker, and right away I'm thinking you guys have just. Like, you guys are thinking, this is fucking ridiculous and this person is crazy kind of thing. Like, we're listening to someone delve into their unconscious. They're using their images that they're into and their dream logic and how things work and stuff like that. And I'm curious about it. I'm always curious about how crazy a person can be and how it manifests and stuff like that.
Yeah, like, I'm interested in the psychology behind it. Like, what is it about these types of things, these types of occurrences, these types of experiments that compel people to believe in the supernatural? You know, what is it that draws people to think that a simple piece of wood can open a doorway to the other side of existence? You know,
well, I mean,
like part of it, like without getting too much into it, the example that you gave of the first speaker at Paracon,
right? In
my mind, I'm thinking she has a lot of other issues that need to be addressed, and they clearly haven't been, because she's expressing all of these tells that she has problems that she hasn't dealt with. I don't know what these problems are, and I think she would need to actually speak to a professional in order to get all of that out in the open. But
well, right off the bat, she frames it herself as being something that was born out of a state of grief.
Exactly.
It all came up right after her mother, who she says herself she was very close to, died.
Yeah, and that's why I'm going down this path, right? It's not just idle speculation. It's you drop this bomb that kind of indicates that you haven't dealt with that kind of grief in a proper way, and you're projecting that event onto your, like, it's kind of like the root of why you believe this shit, because you haven't dealt with it properly.
Sure.
You know, like, you believe in the afterlife because you haven't let go of your mother, who you were close to. And I think in a lot of circumstances that would be an element of why people believe in this kind of thing.
Well, and I'm still and I'm curious about, regardless of the reasons why someone puts a belief into a board or something like that, like this Ouija board in front of us. I am still curious about how their mental issues, or whatever you want to call them, manifest into a belief in the supernatural,
right?
And not only that, but getting functional results from the supernatural.
Well, you touched on a couple of really interesting points there. It's like, with the Ouija board especially, that, because of the ideomotor reflex and because of how that operates, opens a door to, you know, a lot of unconscious stuff being brought to the forefront while using the board. You know, whatever quote-unquote spirit they contact could just be a manifestation of some undealt with trauma or whatever at the back of their mind that they just don't realize is happening. You know, if they make contact with a spirit that was, like, killed violently in, like, I don't know, like a sexual assault case or whatever, and they're spelling that out on the board, that could just be shit that happened to them that they blocked out. Like the unconscious, like you say, is really, really important to deal with. And I think people who use a Ouija board without dealing with those unconscious kind of aspects of their psyche, that would be, in a way,
it's an outlet.
It could be an outlet.
It's a way to actually, uncover some stuff that they're repressing.
Right. But I don't for a second advocate the use of a Ouija board as a psychological tool.
Well,
It's not therapy. The Ouija board is not therapy.
Yeah.
But that's exactly how a lot of occultists use this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like most psychics or mediums or whatever, they're there to help you deal with grief or something, according to themselves.
Right.
Like it's entertainment, but it's also entertainment that is meant to
Entertainment plus.
Yeah, entertainment plus. It's actually meant to help you to contact something, like to do something important, right? Contact a loved one who has passed on.
But it's also extremely unhealthy.
Well, that's it, because you're just perpetuating illusions and delusions and...
Well, not necessarily. It can still be helpful. They can still be dealing with things that aren't necessarily true, but are bringing up true things.
I think there's a very firm limit on how helpful speaking to a psychic could be when it comes to dealing with that kind of grief, right? Because it perpetuates the belief in the false belief in the supernatural,
right?
Which is as we were just talking about, a form of repression, a form of not dealing with it directly.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So while you think you may be getting some help by visiting the psychic or whatever, in reality you're doing more harm than good, because you're still
escaping.
It's a form of escapism. Exactly.
I can't really claim it's more. How did you phrase that? It's
I don't
it's
know.
more helpful than good. It's more
harmful.
More harmful, right? I can't claim whether or not it's more harmful. How can we equate that?
By comparing it
quantify it?
How can you
can quantify it by looking at the results of going to actual therapy versus those results of going to a psychic.
Talking to my friends that are seeing therapists, man, their therapists need therapists, and who are their therapists? We put a lot of trust in people. I don't know if I trust therapists any more than Ouija boards, really.
I would, because at least therapists have a grounding in psychology, right? They have an understanding of the human mind and how it functions, whereas a psychic will just...
there is some expertise there in a background of scientific research and data,
sure.
And
I'm just talking about
tested and retested.
I'm hearing about therapy sessions where really I'm hearing more about how the therapist needs some therapy and their issues are bleeding out into the person that they're trying to be helping, and they're... Well, yeah,
the thing about psychotherapy is, specifically, I'm not talking about psychiatry, the thing about psychotherapy is because it's a communication. It's a two-way interaction between your therapist and yourself, right? So you're interacting and you're meeting at a level where you can both kind of relate to each other, right? Mm-hmm. So by saying that therapists need therapists...
But also, colloquially, people talk about these things kind of interchangeably, whether they're talking about licensed psychotherapist with, like a doctorate and everything, or they're talking about a social worker or a counselor who's just donating their time or volunteering to try and help someone else talk through stuff. They might not be equipped with the education to overcome some of these heuristics and things that are actually hindering.
Yeah, the terms are not interchangeable.
No, exactly, but people use them interchangeably.
Right,
a counselor or a therapist or a...
Yeah, and that's completely incorrect, because they all have limits to what they're able to do.
Right. I think for myself, I have a problem trusting anything and anyone. Like, I am immediately skeptical.
I want to see a therapist about that.
Yeah. Like, I do not feel like I would feel safer going to see a therapist. I mean, maybe I don't know. I feel like with the Ouija board, being who I am, I'm pretty open. I'm open to trying this.
Open to what?
Like, I would want to see someone using a Ouija board that really believes it and is getting results, kind of thing.
What kind of results would you expect to see from that?
Well, yeses and nos and things spelt out that make sense, and
Yeah, but beyond that, like, what is it that you would want to see, like, as an actual result of using the board?
I guess, yeah. Well, I would want to see a form of communication, a something happening. The equivalent of seeing a ghost,
Well, something
or
will
finding
happen.
an
Like,
alien. Or,
if you're doing it like two things.
So the ideomotor effect is a happening.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Right.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's happening.
And like, I wanted to go back a little bit because you mentioned that it would have to be done. Like, using the board has to be with more than one person. That's because the ideomotor reflex doesn't work with just one person, because you're not triggering the right kind of unconscious whateverage. I can't explain it properly, but
Juju.
Juju. We'll go with that.
Well, like, let's say we sat down and the three of us are watching, and two people are using a Ouija board, and we're seeing it working.
Right.
Right away, the three of us would go, "Okay, who's pushing it?" Like,
That would
we
be
would
my
be
first. Yeah,
that
that
would be our
my first reaction.
First reaction. What else
Sure.
would we go through?
Then I would, because I know about it, my second reaction would be, hey, this is the ideomotor reflex taken over.
There's not just the ideomotor effect that's happening, though. There's also kind of mirroring, right? That's happening. So there's like a feedback loop happening where I'm getting some feedback through my fingers here from somebody else, maybe initiating a push in one direction or the other unconsciously, but me feeling that makes me want to then push or pull to go with it or something,
or counter it,
or
it's, yeah.
So you end up with more than just a single person's ideomotor.
Sure.
They kind of bank on each other.
Effect, like subconscious kind of motor neuron kind of thing happening. I'm also reading and I'm being with you while we're doing this thing, and so I'm reacting, and so I've got a sort of responsive ideomotor effect that's happening, and then it's going back and forth to the point where you're then responding to my response, and
there are a lot of unconscious cues going on, like unspoken kind
a lot of different levels.
Yeah, on many different levels going on, where you each influence the other, and that's how you get this kind of weird supernatural-ish kind of, what the fuck is happening? It's a spirit, yada yada. Like, yeah, it's all at the back of your head, back of your mind, and you don't realize what's going on.
So one fun thing was that the National Geographic Channel, they had gotten together a group of people to talk about like the Ouija board and test it out and play with it. So they had a group of people use the Ouija board, and a few of them were like talking about like some lost loved ones that they were hoping to contact, and they asked it a couple of questions and came up with some answers to confirm to whoever's loved one was gone that that is my loved one. Like, they asked like, what was your favorite musical, Grandpa? And so the thing just goes straight to the letter P, and she's like, "Oh yes, Phantom of the Opera was it?
Just one letter."
Right away, discredit.
Right away, yeah. But that was enough to be slightly compelling, I guess. Because they're actually going to a letter. They're identifying. Okay, the first letter is coincidental.
So they're getting some functionality.
They're getting some kind of feedback.
Some sort of result coming.
There's some sort of result. Then they go, you know what? Let's blindfold everybody and let the spirit guide us, and then we'll know for sure that it's not us that's giving the answer to everybody else who's got their finger on the planchette here. So they blindfold everybody, and then they ask some more questions like, "What year did you die?" and all this kind of stuff. And one of the people in the group knows, but they're blindfolded now, and they still move the planchette as if they weren't blindfolded. But the planchette now just points at random non-spots on the board.
They were born in the
It's
year
just coming
B.
up with complete garbage, obviously, because nobody can see where the letters are anymore. So they're not directing it to the appropriate dates. And
in an episode of Bullshit, Penn and Teller replicated that experiment, but they went one step further. What they did, first they did the whole normal testing of the board, people without blindfolds moving it around, yada yada, getting some kind of result out of it. Then they blindfolded them, like in the National Geographic thing, but they flipped the board around.
Oh.
right? To see if the spirits would like compensate for this.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You know, so they're blindfolded. The board is flipped around upside down now, and the people are moving the planchette around as if they're doing it normally, pointing to where they think the letters are supposed to be. But
Yeah.
of course, it's going all over the goddamn place, and they're not doing anything. Like they're not pointing at anything. So yeah. Like, what do you make of that? Are the spirits that retarded that they can't fucking compensate for a flip board and
It
blindfolds?
could
Well, what's
hold on. It could be easily explained by spirits are seeing through our living eyes, and so once we're blindfolded, they just can't see shit.
So see,
So
now,
we
now
could
this
explain-
this starts to approach like special pleading.
Yes.
So at first, people who believe in this stuff, they say, you know what? No. I'm not the one moving this. It's a spirit that's moving the planchette, and I'm just following it along. Then, when you prove, no, you're the one moving it. Oh, okay. So the spirit now is okay. I'll grant you now that the spirit is not moving the planchette. It's using me to move the planchette.
The spirit needs to. I need to act as a medium between the
Yeah.
spirit world and reality, right?
So that's like just clear goalpost moving.
Right. Yeah, and that's fucking bullshit.
I'm still curious about the unconscious and what we can do with the unconscious.
Well, we know what we can. We know a little bit of what we can do with the unconscious, and that's move a planchette across a board without realizing.
Have you ever had anything that you've experienced that does defy rationality, logic, or anything like that? Like, for example, I can think of having dreams that seem to
Predict something.
predict a future.
Okay, well, let me ask you, what is the explanation for that?
What is the explanation?
Yeah, how do you explain that?
I don't necessarily. I'm not exactly sure. I
Good. That's where it should stop.
Yeah, sure. I can rationalize it with some Taoist one consciousness kind
Okay,
of.
now you're going too far.
Yeah, right.
If you don't know what the explanation
No,
is,
I'm
that's where it should end,
I'm not
right?
explaining.
No.
No.
But for example, I have had dreams where I do seem to meet people before I meet them in real life.
Right.
My first
We talked about this.
Yeah.
my first dream that foretold the future really was just a visual scenario that then occurred in real life.
Yeah.
So I dreamt it
But
first.
didn't we talk
and
about the
then
fact
it
that,
occurred
that
later on?
what it was
in real
in your dreams, you had a sort of general image that the thing that happened later you could reasonably map onto it, even though there wasn't like a 100%
Yeah.
So like
a building of that future image.
so kind of like a post hoc attribution.
That's
Yeah.
it. Like because I if I were to talk about my own example or my own example of like a premonition kind of dream, I would talk about dreaming about meeting a girl with like sort of shoulder length blonde hair, but then later on meeting my wife.
Yeah. So
And-
you're telling me you did have a dream before you met her?
Yeah, so my wife has blonde hair. My wife
No, what?
has blonde hair, and eventually at some point throughout our years and years and years of knowing each other, at some point her hair was shoulder length. But when I first met her, her hair was not shoulder length.
Mm-hmm.
It was much shorter than that, and in my dream, I remember specifically that I don't remember seeing the person's face
Yep.
in my dream.
You know what's really funny is
You
that
know
I
what
have
I'm
had
saying?
dreams
So-
and it is always hair. For some reason, I recognize people by hair.
Yeah.
One of my most distinct one was a hat, and it was very much the same hat.
See,
And
I have a similar story. I think I've told it before too on the show. It's my premonition of who the next pope would be, not the current one, but the one before us.
Right.
Before this one.
Ratzinger?
Yeah, Ratzinger. So it was during conclave,
Or
and
Benedict was his papal name,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So it was during conclave. It was really late in the process. They had a couple of votes or whatever. So I have this dream where I have this image that the next pope will be from Germany and he'll be 70 whatever years old, the same age as Ratzinger was at the time. Right, so I wake up in the morning and I go tell my dad that I had this dream about who I think the next pope is going to be. As I'm telling him the story, the bells are going off. We hear the announcement on the radio that the next pope will be Pope Benedict, Joseph Ratzinger from Germany, age 70 whatever.
Because you guys were listening to WVAT, All Vatican, all the time.
All Vatican, all the time. Vatican Radio, all Vatican, all the time.
Why were you guys on a radio station that would be listening for the bells to start ringing?
It was on CBC, and it was breaking news. They announced the new pope. Right?
Okay.
So, I had this premonition in a dream that the next pope would be Pope Benedict.
Right.
Yeah.
But the way that I rationalize why the dream occurred is because everyone was talking about how he's the most likely candidate to become pope.
Yeah.
Right? So there are these unconscious cues that enter into your mind.
There's all kinds of
all
feedback that is washing over you.
Sure.
Right?
So your unconscious figured it out, is what?
Yeah,
is what
and then it dreamt up the result that everybody was pretty much banking on the next day. So
what you're saying is, so far, your best supernatural story is the little girl showing up at the door after you use the Ouija
what
board.
I'm also saying is that whenever these premonition dreams occur, it's because our brains are only consciously aware of a tiny fraction of information that we receive throughout the day, right? Yeah. And whenever you have one of these dreams, it's your own mind going through all the bullshit that your
and that's what
mind...
they say dreaming is mostly, right? It's like you go to bed at night and you just sort of allow your brain to start playing with all of the input that came to you throughout the day.
So for your hair story, meeting someone who you think you recognize because of how their hair looks, you may have seen somebody else who had a similar hairstyle to that, and your unconscious is just kind of computing this as you sleep, and then the next day or whatever, when you actually see someone who kind of resembles that descriptor, it's a post-hoc attribution of what something your subconscious or unconscious mind already kind of realized, and you're just kind of duct taping that onto your
Not to mention,
waking experience.
couldn't it just be that I find blonde hair hot, so the next blonde-haired chick that I meet, I'm like, you're hot. Let's make you the one.
Yeah, exactly. A post-hoc attribution.
Have you let Ellen know that you love her just because of her hair? Like, it was your hair.
Every day. Yeah.
I love you because
she's okay with it.
I'm going to suggest, though, that my first dream that did seem to, in a sense, tell the future wasn't so simple as that. It was a visual that repeated, but very distinctly. Like, it was... like
a deja vu?
It was a deja vu, yeah. I had already seen it in my dream. And it was very specific, but it was also absolutely nothing. Like, it was just some snow rolling across the parkway. And it rolled across in the exact same image. Like, it was snowballs that seemed to come out in front of the car, and it rolled out in front of me, and I had dreamt it already.
Well, statistically, I think that, it's pretty likely that snow will eventually hit your car in a similar pattern to what you dreamt about.
But not just that. So with deja vu, I think there's something else going on.
That's a misfiring of neurons, for one thing.
Okay, so when you remember something, right? There's a profile of mechanisms that's going off in your brain that says, okay, right now I'm envisioning in my mind a memory rather than a sense perception of something that's happening real time right now, right? So there's two different things that happen in your brain that allows you to identify one situation versus another, right? Now, why isn't it possible for your brain just to do that thing that it normally does when you're seeing a memory rather than seeing an imagination or a sense perception, and then because your brain is doing that thing that it normally does to help you identify a memory versus an imagination or a sense perception, you're just going to say, okay, so this is feeling like a memory. Even though that memory didn't happen, I have to say it's a memory because my brain did that thing that it does when it's firing and releasing whatever impulses or hormones or whatever that it does in one situation versus another. There's a completely kind of mundane explanation for why why your brain would say, or why you would say that deja vu experience was a memory of a dream rather than you just saw something happen in front of you, and your brain happened to do that misfire of saying this thing that you're seeing right now that you're mirroring in your brain, this is a memory rather than just experiencing right now.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I'm open to both of those possibilities, but I never really I try never to lock down on thinking this or thinking that sort of thing, and that's why, in a sense, I am able to look at a Ouija board and go, maybe, maybe it's possible, maybe we can do something.
That's
cool
why
with the
Ella
unconscious.
didn't want to come today, actually, because she's
open to
also
the
not
idea.
really a believer in occult or stuff, but when I was telling her, you can come, like, this is all just for fun, this is all fake, right? And I said, that there's like no such thing as the supernatural. It does not exist, period. And she's like, probably.
Maybe.
Her thing
maybe
is,
that's true.
Her thing is that kind of open-ended, non-arrogant,
It's the 1% possibility.
There's that 1% possibility, and
yeah. Maybe Santa Claus doesn't exist. Maybe.
Well, with her, it's not even as open as maybe. She's willing to go as far as to say probably.
Yeah, right. Probably.
Yeah. Well, like, I can't...
But that's probably more honest or more...
I can't definitively say that there's no such thing as the supernatural. However...
But I feel like I would be lying because I definitely think that it's definite.
Yeah.
And I would be lying if I was as agnostic about it.
Well, okay, pragmatically, what I'm getting at is pragmatically, to me, there's no such thing as the supernatural, despite the fact that I can't definitively say that.
Well, I think the
Right.
three of us can agree. We don't believe.
No,
we
I-
don't proactively
Right.
believe in the supernatural.
That's right.
Yeah.
We don't believe in it.
We
Right.
don't. I do not.
Like, I can say that. I don't believe in the
I
supernatural.
actively do not believe in the supernatural.
That's right. Yeah, we do not
Yeah.
believe in it.
Yeah, until such
But
time
We're
as
going to
there-
put our money where our mouth is, too, later.
Yes, we are, and I have some really telling questions to ask.
Oh,
this
do you?
board.
Okay, great.
Well, I do feel, though, that of the three of us, I'm more likely to believe in something.
I would say you're more open.
Yeah, I am more open, I think.
Yeah.
I'm open if the evidence presents itself.
Like, I feel like walking into the paranormal thing there that we went to, that fest, Parafest, or whatever it's called.
Paracon.
Like, I feel like
Parafest.
I feel like I'm sitting in and I'm getting comfy and I'm going like, oh boy, let's listen to this lady talk. And I'm feeling in those moments, I'm going like, you guys have already dismissed her, kind of thing. Like, you guys are looking at this chick going, she's fucking crazy.
To be fair, I didn't dismiss her outright going in. I dismissed her when she started talking.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Like, as soon as she's talking about trees, like spirit trees and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, in my mind, I'm going, you guys are laughing at this point. kind of
I don't know
thing,
if you caught my reactions to some of the shit that was going on there, but like I physically slumped in my chair and just facepalmed.
Right. Like, why did we come here? kind
No,
of
it
thing.
wasn't why did we come here. It's like, what the fuck am I listening to?
Right. There's no point asking her questions, kind of idea.
No, I wanted to
I
ask her
wanted
questions
so bad to
after.
ask her some questions, but she was in the middle of this reading. And
Well, I feel like you would want to come in with some dismantling questions, kind of thing, right?
probably.
Whereas my tendency wouldn't necessarily be to dismantle, more so to dig deeper into the
I would like
unconscious
to-
here. I want
yeah,
to see where this is coming from.
I would be interested in asking her the kind of questions that kind of prompts her to deliver the
Yeah.
most compelling evidence, like
Yeah.
the best case for her perspective or for her.
I would go with the why questions, like why do you
Metaphysics.
believe this? Why do you think that you're communing with the dead?
Yeah.
Why do you think this method
Give
is
me
effective?
your best arguments.
Exactly. Give me your best possible argument for why you believe this is real.
And she would have scenarios worked out in her mind.
And then
This
the
is
convers-
how the afterlife is organized.
Yeah, and then
No.
that would start the conversation, and that's what I would be going in for. I want to have that conversation. I want to meet her at her level, where she's at, and just talk through it. Like, okay, well, what about this? You know, what would a world without the supernatural look like to you? And then go from there. Like, and then, well, how would you explain what you think is real? You know, just have the open, honest conversation with somebody. Because that's what I want to do. I want to have that open conversation with them. I want to be honest in my approach with them. I want them to be honest with me, and I want us to actually talk about the thing that they. Why do you believe this? What do you believe and why? That's what I'm getting at.
Right. Let's delve into your psychosis. Let's unveil this thing.
Yeah.
And delve
let's
deeper
get into
it.
Let's talk about this. And that I think that's why I like introducing our episodes like that. Let's talk about that, shall we?
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about that. I want to have those conversations.
Well, I see you, Mark, as being a major skeptic, but also a person that in a sense is a bit of a Mulder. You want to believe. You have that poster up in your office kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you want to believe. You're interested. And you want to know what this is and why it is that it still exists, that someone would still believe in this stuff.
Right.
Why would someone buy a Ouija board? I feel like the Ouija board is a weird one because I'm thinking people that would truly believe in the Ouija board would not go out and buy a Ouija board at Walmart. They would have some other idea, or if they did believe in it, they just wouldn't use it.
Right.
Like I feel like the people that we know that do believe in the Ouija board wouldn't use it because they believe in it.
Yeah.
So who exactly is using a Ouija board?
Is it people like us?
I feel like it's people that half believe it.
Half believe it?
That are open to the idea of being frightened by
honest
it
seekers
and are hoping.
of the truth. Yeah.
They're hoping that something's going to happen and it'll scare them.
Well, that's the thing. Whenever I go into these experiments or whatever, I'm honestly hoping for a legit result.
But are you honestly open to it?
Yes. I'm totally open to it. If the evidence presents itself, I'm completely open
You're
to
only
change my mind.
open once the evidence presents itself.
Yeah, otherwise I'm being delusional.
Right. And so if we were to see it to start to work, our first thoughts are, who's fucking around?
First thought is who's fucking around. Second thought, immediately or almost
if it's
occurring
your
at the same time as
subconscious,
that is the ideomotor.
If it's your unconscious.
If it's your subconscious, it's not really a question, right? Yeah. Like it's not like somebody's intentionally messing with us.
No, what I'm saying is
if that, maybe one or all three of our subconsciouses are actually.
But our first thoughts
stirring
would be
up some dynamic that's causing it to move in a certain way.
Let's do it, Chill.
It's like
we're gonna Ouija board.
Wait, just me and you?
Hold on a second. We'll do that in a second. But like two immediately concurrent thoughts that would occur in my mind would be who's fucking with this, and it's the ideomotor reflex. Those two things would happen at the same time in my mind, right? And then after it would be like, okay, can we please get something real going on?
Right.
Would follow those two preceding thoughts.
Right.
Because I want a result. Like you said, I want to believe in this shit. If the evidence presents itself, right? There has to be sufficient evidence to back up the proposition, and it has to be presented in a way that's logically sound and valid. Otherwise, it's bullshit, and there's no reason to believe it. Maybe, okay, I'll take away the bullshit part, but there's no reason to believe it.
I was going to say, yes, it's not necessarily bullshit. For example, we could use it. It could work. But the only way to verify that it's not bullshit is if we could verify it afterwards. Like, for example, the spirit gives us the lotto numbers and then they actually do win. Then we'd be like, holy fuck, it really did work, and what the hell?
That would be wonderful.
That's one thing.
He's playing with wires.
I'm playing with wires, I'm just...
Okay. Well, yeah, that would be a demonstration of something going on.
Yeah.
What that something is, can't say for sure. I wouldn't immediately go to it's spirit from the beyond. I'd be like, I don't fucking know where that came from.
Well, that's because we don't have that template in our mind that the beyond even exists.
Well, exactly, right? So the demonstration of a prediction of immediate, well, even okay. I'm going to backtrack on what I just said here, agreeing with the lotto ticket demonstration as being a demonstration of something. Because that's a magic trick that some people can do. I can go out today and buy that trick. I can buy a lotto prediction thing. It's called a headline prediction because magicians, what they do as like a really cool PR stunt is they use this method, call into a radio station, mail them a prediction that's in a sealed envelope that's been notarized by somebody that has the winning lotto numbers of the day that they've sent in ahead of time by like a week. You can do this.
Okay.
Right? So if we got a spirit that did the same kind of, here are the winning lotto numbers. I don't know if you fucked with me and used that method, which could be an explanation for it. So I can't immediately say that would be a demonstration of the supernatural.
Right.
Okay, I'm not familiar with this trick, but I don't see how you could say...
Is this trick an illusion? What are you talking about? Okay,
Okay,
it's a mentalism.
so they have not chosen
It can't be
numbers.
as specific as like the Wednesday Lotto 649
It is that
numbers
specific.
are going to be this.
It is that specific. Like today's lotto numbers are this. It's mailed to the newspaper, the radio
So how
station,
are they
whatever.
doing their living as mentalists
I don't
rather
know
than just choosing lotto numbers and staying at home and shutting the fuck up?
Because it's a trick. Because it's a trick.
Right, okay.
No, but the trick is that you reveal that you predicted the numbers after the numbers are called.
It's after the numbers are revealed, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you're doing this kind of...
Okay, so if it's ahead of time...
when we're playing the Ouija board right now, if we spell out now and call out, okay, next Wednesday is like friggin' like 5 days from now, when we look at the numbers, it's going to be 47139. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, if that happened, maybe I might be a little bit more inclined to be like, something weird is going on here. So we're going to attempt to do something weird. We're gonna fuck around with this homemade Ouija board as soon as Luke gets back from his bathroom break.
Totally called him out, and I appreciate that you didn't call me out when I went on my bathroom break.
Yeah, well, you and I are of a more similar mindset, so there's that.
We're totally throwing him under the bus. It's great.
Because he's not here.
Yeah, not here to defend himself.
But yeah, we're gonna fuck around with this quote-unquote Ouija board that's really just a piece of paper with stuff written in Sharpie on it, glued to a, I want to call that a placemat. And yeah, we'll see if we can get some kind of result.
One of the funny things that just sort of randomly came up when I was researching this Ouija stuff was one person was talking about the biblical story of Saul going to the Witch of Endor.
Okay.
Because I think this person was tracing to that the origin of spiritualism and like trying to contact people from the other side and stuff like that, like as being basically the origin point for this concept. And so this is like this story about Saul sort of Saul is anonymously going to seek out a spiritualist to speak to Samuel, or the spirit of Samuel, because he's about to get into this big battle, right, with his army and stuff. And the Witch of Endor actually manages to conjure the spirit of Samuel, and Samuel tells her that Saul's army is going to be defeated the next day and Saul's going to be killed. Or Saul's going to die the next day. And the next day, Saul actually does get defeated and he commits suicide. This whole story was kind of funny. It just had me thinking about the moon of Endor and Star Wars, and I'm thinking about George Lucas putting this in there at the end of the Star Wars series. Like this is kind of coincidentally, the moon of Endor is where you see all of the ghosts kind of come back. With like Yoda, Anakin, and Obi-Wan. They show up there, so there's this kind of parallel there. But then I'm also thinking, okay, he ends the movie with this, but that story of the Witch of Endor is kind of not a really very nice one. Like, it's a little bit ominous. It means that this is the presage of complete disaster, right? So basically, this was him saying that from this point on, the legacy of Star Wars is going to get fucked up royally.
Things are going to suck from here on, boys.
So just a kind of lovely little sidebar that Lucas was kind of predicting that maybe he would make the prequels and they would suck ass, and then this new series of Star Wars movies would also completely make garbage out of the Star Wars canon.
That is a great story. I love it.
Yeah. That was my biding time until Luke
is back.
By the way, that was not a bathroom break. I was doing some hard work in there, by the way.
Okay. That's what all the carpentry noises I was hearing.
That's right.
Contacting spirits.
We built a few kitchen cabinets.
Yeah. Let's play Ouija!
right, who's gonna do it? Mark, are you gonna sit in? Sit here?
I'm gonna move.
You wanna do it? All right. I'll sit in your
Wait,
spot.
can we just move
Yeah,
this
we're gonna move the
laptop
laptop
behind
a
the
little
box
bit.
here?
We could try. We could try that.
Let's do.
I'll just grab your seat, Mark.
Okay. All right.
I would rather that.
There you go.
Okay. Let's do this.
So first of all, I'm going to point out that I think people that believe in Ouija, unlike us, would point out that neither of you believe in Ouija, and so would that not deter the effects of the Ouija?
I'm going into this with an open mind. I'm hoping
You can say you have an open mind.
I do.
How do you know your mind is
laptop
open?
gets hot.
Yeah, it's like 10 years old, so let's not talk about that.
When we talk about having open minds, we can't really know if it's open. I mean, your mind could be as closed as anything, and you don't know because maybe you've never had an open mind, and you wouldn't even know the difference.
I don't know
Right
what to
now,
tell
you
you.
just think you have an open mind.
I don't know what to tell you. So okay, we've got a shot glass on top of I guess a replica
It's like
of
a cutting board.
It's like a cutting board.
Yeah.
But there's a piece of paper with yes and no on the top corners, like I described in the introduction. The alphabet printed on it, numbers 1 through 9 with a 0 at the end, and then goodbye at the bottom behind that. So fingers on shot glass. Want to go 1 or 2 fingers?
Well, whatever works for you guys.
Let's go 2 for more
We
energy.
have to go 2, but there's such a
Just
small
light touch.
cup.
Let's get your light touch.
Oh,
on.
we're doing all
Yeah,
the two
okay.
of us. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's-
Do we have to make the tips touch? Let's touch our tips.
Touch tips.
Luke, you've got 4 fingers. No fair.
Oh, sorry.
You're gonna have twice the motor.
Use 2 hands. Use 2 hands.
The idiomotor.
I see.
You're going to be
retarded.
using
I'm
twice the
Ouija.
idiomotor.
I'm
Twice the
Ouija.
idiom.
Ouija
so,
retarded.
So we're all touching our tips.
We're touching tips. So hello spirits.
Wait, we're not touching tips
Hold on.
anymore.
Okay. Hello spirits. Can you
Wait,
can you
Do we
hear us?
really have to have our penises touching like this, though?
Maybe we should try with our fingers instead.
Oh shit! Okay, everybody zip up. Let's zip up and put our fingers on the thing rather than penises.
Okay, should I? Am
Why
I
don't-
allowed to have my elbows touching the table, or should
Mine are elevated for some reason. I didn't
Okay.
even realize it. But
Okay.
Because
I
you're
think
shorter.
It's probably okay. Hello spirits. Is there anybody there who can talk to us or wants to send us a message or whatever the fuck people ask? Don't press down too hard, otherwise the shot glass won't. Oh
Dear-
shit! Oh fuck!
Dear spirits.
Oh shit! Okay, we're moving up. Hello, spirit. We're moving towards the yes. I'm not moving this.
Oh, well, we might as well just move towards the yes, then.
It looks like we're okay. Shot glass is moving towards yes. I'm not pushing it. Is anyone pushing or pulling?
No, but that's
well,
good
I'm
enough.
kind of pulling.
You're kind of pulling. Okay, we've got a yes.
Well, we've got a
We've got an S on the yes.
yeah.
Okay, so
there's
hello spirits.
There's a very shy spirit that's definitely here.
Yes, solve the Fermi paradox.
What's that?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh.
Okay, we've got an X.
Or a W.
X. We're moving towards. What is this? We've got a B. XB.
I saw that as A.
That's an A.
XA.
Jill has decided that's an A.
It's an A.
What's going on now?
We're off the board.
We've shut off the board.
Okay, so the solution to
So the Fermi paradox, yes.
the solution to the Fermi paradox is X.
Well, we got some pretty instant results there, guys.
Off the board.
Moving stuff.
I thought he was gonna say. I thought we had a W. So I thought he was saying what?
Well, we have XA off the board.
Right.
Okay, let's get back to it. I have another question for our spirit.
Maybe I stopped touching my tip.
You may have stopped touching tips.
Wait.
Okay. Hello, spirit. Are you still with us? If you go to no, that'll be really funny. And we are going to the top here, apparently. Okay, so middle of the board. I'm guessing the spirit is still with us. My next question is... I haven't even said anything yet.
But the board wants. The board is answering an unasked question.
Is this... Okay, hold on. 6.
5.
We got to...
What? Your numbers are too close together on
I'm
the board.
sorry. It was really early in the morning when I put this thing together. We're on a, what is that? U.
Yeah.
U? Got a U. I haven't even asked a question yet.
Well, quick, ask it something.
I was going to.
It's already answering.
Hey,
It's
stop.
a rambler.
Yo, Spirit, stop. Thanks, Spirit. How do you reconcile gravity with quantum physics?
You'd already answered with the 6.
A.
Okay.
T. At.
Okay. It's moving very tentatively and slowly. This makes for really great podcasting.
Yes, it does.
Really
A-T. Bunch of letters.
AT bunch of letters around like what was that, like around the
L-Y.
KLWX.
What was the question?
How do you reconcile gravity with quantum physics?
Well, it seems like it went at X.
And
At X. A.
At random space, white space on the board.
I feel like that's an A.
Can we ask a different question?
sure, do you have one?
Okay. Spirit, what is your name?
Oh, goody. This is always fun to do.
Okay.
So we're looking for a name.
So it's just kind of randomly moving a little bit, very slowly.
Oh, shit.
That wasn't very slowly.
I think we're back at... There's going to be an A
It
again.
looks like an A again.
Looks like an A. Spirit loves the letter A.
I'm wondering if maybe I just keep pulling.
Well,
Jimmy.
what are you doing now?
Well, I'm not pulling anymore, obviously.
Oh, fuck this. Why is this going so fast? A-W. Ah, we've got an ah.
Okay, anything else?
E. Oh.
A-W-E?
Ah. We're an ah.
Are these initials? No reaction from the cup.
No. Okay, so the spirit's name is your name in awe of something.
How can a name be an awe?
I don't know, but that's what it's spelled. But
No.
Oh, no.
Okay, we gotta know. We gotta know.
This is a clear no. How old are you? How old were you when you died? Because you're a spirit, apparently. So.
Oh, yeah, okay. Or but if he's a demon, then he's never died.
He was never alive and he never died.
Oh, fuck, it's a demon.
Oh, fuck yes. Okay.
So, apparently, are you a demon?
Okay, it's slowly moving
Slowly.
away from the yes.
Well, what if it was already a yes? But that's just in the movies when we let go and it moves. It continues.
Yeah, that would
moving.
be. That
How
would
about
be
that?
great.
Okay, fingers off.
Fingers off.
Hey, spirit, if you're still there, can you point to the number 1?
Well, or do anything.
It says no.
We'd be fine with anything. Okay.
As expected,
fingers back
nothing's
on,
happening.
guys. Fingers back on.
Okay,
Oh,
fingers back on.
Okay.
I was going to take a shot.
Oh, yeah,
Does
that's a good
does
idea.
anybody have a loved one or somebody they know that is passed on that they would like to contact?
Do any of us believe in the afterlife? No.
Oh, wow! Look at that.
Oh,
the
look
no.
at that. What else can we do? How many subscribers do we have on our YouTube channel?
Oh, and the screen just went black. Okay.
I was just going to pull it down to the 6.
It looks like we have no subscribers.
Oh, shit.
Oh, something's happening.
Fuck. Okay. This is great listening material.
Yeah. I wonder if the mic can actually pick up the
Sliding sound.
sliding sound.
I hope so. Oh,
Is anything happening here?
We're going to... Oh, that's really funny.
It's like a
almost,
9 or...
Almost went to 0, which would have been hilarious.
That seems like an 8.
How
No,
many...
it's down to
How many subscribers do we have on our YouTube channel?
1.
We have
81 or 91?
81? No, we
do not have...
No, we have 54. Dumbass!
I'm pretty sure it went for 0 or 1.
Whoa.
Oh, shit. Are you going to point to 54? Because that would be really funny after I reveal this.
0.
Oh, everyone's going to unsubscribe
I think
after
everybody
this
has
episode.
just unsubscribed while they're listening to this dead air.
What are we doing? Oh, look, it's going to yes.
Yes.
So,
Spirit,
please don't unsubscribe as a result of the Spirit activity.
Well, okay, so
Spirit has a sense of humor.
do you guys notice, though, that when it
Yes.
seems to go towards something, we're looking and we then pull it towards, we're like, yes? Okay, yes, then.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Anyone have any really specific questions they would like to ask?
Okay, how about we do it? Now, let's touch very lightly, close your eyes,
Yeah.
Okay, let's do
and
the eye
now
close
ask some
test.
questions.
All right.
Okay.
How old am I? Should we open after the first number?
Sure.
Yeah,
Whenever it
whenever it stops, we can open.
Okay. What do we got?
Got a
Okay.
3.
Okay.
Okay.
And the next.
We've got a blank. Oh, well, it's like 6 and 7.
Wrong. 38.
Oh, that's pretty close.
Okay.
It's close enough.
Close enough. It's touching the 8. The edge of the glass went to the 8.
With our eyes closed.
It's certainly going to the 8 now. Look at that.
That was right. Fuck off.
Okay.
Next. Who's go-
Eyes
Next.
closed again.
Why is it going to yes? We didn't even do
Yes.
anything.
Maybe
it's
he's
ready.
just proud of himself. That's like
Yes.
a fist pumping.
Yes!
Yes!
Okay.
Is that what's happening right now, Spirit? Are you proud of yourself?
Proud of what you did? Yes!
Yes. Okay, great.
It's cocky.
It's cocky. Spirit, are you male or female?
I swear to God, if you go to yes again, that'll be really funny. Oh, fuck. B?
B. B female?
Bisexual.
No.
Vino.
B no. Are you gender fluid?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Wow, this is a millennial Spirit.
That is hot.
No,
Okay, we're just sliding right off the board.
it does not like Mark.
So we've got a gender fluid bisexual spirit.
Maybe
It wants us
spirits
to
don't
fuck
have
off.
a sex. Okay.
Okay.
Did we ask its name?
Yes.
Name.
Oh,
Went
yeah,
to
and it was aw.
A-W-E. Aw. Aw.
Yeah. So what does the A stand for?
Are your eyes closed? You guys.
Oh, right,
have
the
your-
eyes closed,
You guys
okay.
have your eyes
Oh.
open.
It's eyes.
A stands for 8.
Okay, we have a 9 or an 8.
A stands for 8.
Okay, the glass is moving to the A.
Okay, back to A.
Okay. What else? A.
A5.
A5. What are we playing battleships here?
If you sunk my destroyer. A5 blank. Oh, that's a
Oh, AD.
That's a D.
AD. A5D.
Okay. One more letter.
Add.
No. Add.
Add 5?
Okay.
Add 5 to what?
A5D.
A5D.
Okay.
A5D.
Goodbye.
Okay, so we have dicked around with a makeshift Ouija board. Luke is still dicking around with it on his own.
Did we prove anything?
I don't know if we did.
Prove anything. we possibly prove? We're playing around with a glass and some paper and some letters on it.
Yeah. So we had the cup moving around a little bit.
Always
D.
spots the D.
ADD.
Always spots the D.
Yeah. Little attention deficit disorder. I think it got bored of us. That's why it said
ADD.
goodbye.
ADD, not interested.
It's like, fuck you all, I'm going home.
Okay.
So what do we think about it? Like, the sensation of the shot glass moving around the board felt really familiar. It felt like actually playing with the Ouija board.
Yeah.
You got the
Yeah, it was just like with Ouija board.
Yeah.
It was exactly the same feeling.
right.
But again, any answers we did come up with, like when we would ask a question where appropriately the response needed to be a yes or a no, that's where we sent the shot glass. Where we needed a number or a letter, the shot glass was hanging out in the letter or number section.
To me, we needed to close our eyes and ask more specific questions or something like that.
When it came to the really complicated questions, we got bullshit answers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's difficult to answer complicated questions, even if it was a real spirit.
Come on, what's your name is a complicated question? It answered, oh no.
No!
AWE?
And then went to 5 for some reason. Like,
Yeah, and then when we asked if A was an initial or what A stood for, if it's an initial, he went A5D. Or they went A5D because they're gender fluid, neither male or female.
This is true.
I know. We just contacted a bisexual bingo host.
Oh! Nice.
Oh!
Huh?
So what do we? What's our takeaway from our little Ouija board
My
experiment?
takeaway was that none of us were particularly invested in trying to confirm some kind of bias that we are speaking to an intelligent ghost. So what we ended up with was some idiomotor effect that led nowhere, that just came up with garbage because none of us were invested in having it come up with stuff that made sense.
Luke, what do you think?
Well, I'm. I like that it moved right away. You know,
Right away,
we
yeah.
did not shy away from moving it and
That's
pretending.
true.
We
Yeah.
were pretending.
We were pretending, yes.
We had no direction
We had no
to
direction.
go.
Maybe we need like the fuck you finger and
The fuck you finger?
just
Okay.
You want to try fuck you finger?
Let's try fuck you finger.
Middle fingers on the thing.
All right, close your eyes, guys. Close your eyes.
Okay.
Hello,
Now,
spirit. Tell us
Focus.
something fun.
Ask a question.
Focus.
Give us something interesting, spirit.
Okay, we're on a.
We're
looks to be
on a
an L.
Y or L.
We're on an L.
What about Y underneath? Why do you think not Y?
I don't know. Eyes closed
I thought-
again.
I
Eyes
thought that was
closed. Eyes
X.
closed.
He's giving his kisses.
Eyes closed. What do we got?
We've got a B.
B.
Y, L, or B.
Y, L, or B.
No, I mean Y or L and then B.
Eyes closed. What do we got?
T or
U.
U.
We should.
Yeah, nothing's
Nothing.
going on.
We should really go for the balls. Like, what is the
Okay.
shit you should not do with the Ouija board? Like,
Right.
what
Right, let's
would
do,
the
like-
spiritualists tell
Let's
us
do like
never
one
to
of those
do?
YouTube challenge videos where we
YouTube
break
challenge.
all the rules.
Okay, how about we just simple thing. Let's ask it for proof that it's here.
So we'll go.
Okay.
We'll go straight to demon. Demon,
Yeah.
tell us.
No, fuck telling us anything. Prove that you're here.
Okay.
Give us a physical demonstration of your presence.
Demon, prove you're here.
Maybe it's not maybe it was just a ghost, and it's all like.
Okay, or a spirit.
It's feeling all
Spirit,
insecure
prove you're
now.
here.
Sorry, I'm not a demon.
Spirit,
If
give
there's
us,
anything other than the idiomotor effect happening right now,
give us a physical
give us
demonstration
some
of your
kind of
presence.
sign.
Physical demonstration of your
Some
presence.
kind of proof. Nothing's happening.
Absolutely nothing is happening.
That dead air that you guys are all hearing, that's a representation of what's happening on the board. Right
It is, to coin a phrase, the sound of silence.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I've come to speak with you again.
You've got that Simpsons kind of staring off into the distance. So yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing is happening.
So we'll give you
We've been abandoned by the spirit.
We'll give you a second opportunity to give us a physical demonstration of your presence in 3, 2, 1.
All right, come on, King Satan, go. Give us something.
More nothing.
More nothing. So we've just proved conclusively that there's no such thing as a spirit world. Oh, except
Except Lucas using his idiomotor reflex to point at a random jumble of nothingness.
Yes.
S. Okay. Yeah. No, nothing.
So there's been no demonstration
Goodbye.
of anything.
No.
What's our overall impression of what we just did?
I would say that maybe the three of us are
Assholes.
Are we the wrong
we might be
candidates for
jerks.
this?
dicks. Yeah, maybe we're
We're Ouija dicks.
maybe we're dicks, and maybe we shouldn't be touching them together.
We shouldn't touch
That
tips.
was the best. That was totally the best part, though. For all you listeners out there,
Yeah.
get your penises out.
Yeah.
I would like to repeat the Penn and Teller experiment at some point. Like maybe do a rehash of this episode and have people blindfolded and flip the board over or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
just don't tell them that ahead of time.
Yeah.
We just fucking spoil it for the potential of doing it later. But this little thing just kind of reinforces my idea that
Yeah.
there's no substance
No.
to the Ouija board whatsoever.
Nothing to it.
Well, you guys weren't really expecting anything to happen.
I was hoping for something.
Well, I was hoping that at least my subconscious would have something interesting to.
But at
But we
least
couldn't solve
give
the
me.
solve the Fermi paradox. We couldn't
No.
reconcile gravity with quantum physics.
we got movement right away.
Yeah.
It was not shy.
No, that's
it
right.
started moving around and
Well, I mean, it was shy in the sense that it didn't go anywhere specific. It wanted to move right away, but it didn't.
well, I mean,
really...
was it any more specific than our questions? Our questions were pretty fucking non-existent. Like, we weren't really asking anything, were we?
Well,
Like, what I mean is that
what kind of response
our minds
were you
not being
ending,
any more specific
were you
than
expecting
what
with
we
the
were
Fermi
doing with the
paradox
board.
question?
Either a number or like an equation or something.
Right, right.
Just something.
Wait, and what did he give us?
A something.
Right.
So what you're saying is it could be an
We
equation
went
that we just haven't
often
worked
to
out
the
yet.
A.
We went to A pretty frequently. I don't know why that is. I think it's because it's my best letter that I drew on the board.
It was the first
I
one.
think so. Yeah, it's the one that has the most like.
It
the
really
best,
is the prettiest
The best
letter, I
kerning with the next letter.
The spacing is nice.
It's like, basically, the spirit's going. You really just made the A.
Yeah.
That's the only one
It's
I
really
can
the only letter
concur
that has
with
any
here.
kind of weight to it.
Yeah.
It went to yes and no a couple times, which is
Yeah.
they're prominently displayed in the corners. I don't know. Final thoughts on the subject of the Ouija board.
I just think this Ouija stuff is like no different from dowsing with rods.
Sure.
Or when they hang the crystals from the end of a string
pendulum?
and they make the crystal either
Pendulum.
swing side to
Oh, yeah,
side
yeah.
or spin in a circle.
I'd be
It's
curious
the
about that one
exact
because then
same
at
shit.
least we can't really manipulate it.
It's another
No, but
idiomotor
you're still
reflex.
doing it. You're still holding on to the crystal from the end of the string at the top, and you're the one that's moving.
Oh, I
it.
see. Okay.
Yeah, it's another idiomotor reflex.
It's another idiomotor reflex.
See,
thing.
the thing...
And the same with the dowsing. Actually,
Yeah.
you've got that wire in the little cylinder thing, so that you're not actually turning
Right.
the wire. But when you tilt your hand, the end of the wire,
Well,
the weight of
it does also make sense
goes where you want.
that the unconscious would need the conscious to at least be able to express itself.
Well, the thing that really kind of nailed it or sealed it for me was that when we released our fingers from the shot glass, just told it to do something, it did nothing.
Well,
Yeah. Well,
of course it's not going to.
Well,
because the rule is that you have to touch your tips, and
you gotta touch tips.
Our penises have to be touching.
Just don't cross.
none of us touched our knees, though. Maybe that's the
Maybe
problem.
that's the one that makes or breaks it, is the knee touching. Or maybe it's because we didn't have a member of the fairer sex with us this evening.
Well, obviously, actually, that original rule of needing a male and a female is way too gender binary for whatever spirit we were speaking to, because our spirit didn't want to say that it was a male or female.
Right.
It told us that it was gender fluid.
And told us to fuck off, essentially.
It was a demon.
When it went to goodbye there, because
Yeah.
it left us, went to goodbye.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah. Well, that I think that might have been me. There might have been. I might have got bored.
I think I also. I think I might have kind of.
When you saw it going
to
towards yes, you were pulling it towards yes. Let's just admit it.
Probably.
Jill, you
yeah.
were pulling it towards yes.
Anyway,
I like to pull it.
let's go. Let's finish our final thoughts on this
Okay.
pile of garbage Ouija board that we that we put together.
Yeah. So, yeah, fun. That's appropriate for 10-year-olds, but not much beyond that.
No portals to hell for you.
No portals to hell.
Well, I would be curious to see someone that's fears are coming out at this thing. Like, let's say someone that actually believed this.
Yeah, that's I
Two people
would
that
like to
believed
play
it
with somebody
and-
who really believes in this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure it
And
would be a more.
And I'm always curious about how someone's unconscious will unfurl and the stories that they'll tell with their own mind and stuff like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Actually, that is maybe something that could be worthwhile with this, is to actually tease out the unconscious part.
Right. It's
Of-
kind of like
of
what we were talking
people.
about earlier. Like it would be an interesting tool to delve into somebody's unconscious a little bit, but it's not a replacement for therapy.
No.
I'm going to make that my final thought.
Okay.
Luke?
well, I don't really like having final thoughts.
That's it for tonight, folks. Oh, go
Well,
on.
no, I don't have concluding thoughts or anything like that. I'm a pretty open human being. I generally don't believe in an afterlife or anything like that. So I don't like. To me, there is no afterlife. We're gonna be alive, and then we're gonna die, and then other things will be alive. And that's the afterlife, is other
Right.
things being alive.
Yeah. To kind of add on to my final thought, and on a little bit more of a serious note, the entire, functioning of the Ouija board is contingent upon the existence of a spirit or something else surviving physical death, for which
Right.
there is currently zero evidence, right?
Well, unless it is just tapping into our unconscious, which is a whole other thing altogether, kind of thing.
Yeah, but but I'm talking about like the myth behind the Ouija board,
right.
Is
Yeah, like talking
contingent upon-
ghosts
Yeah,
and stuff,
talking
and
ghosts.
demons.
That's contingent upon the existence of the soul, which is arguably one of the most ridiculous notions in all of metaphysics. So,
The soul.
yeah. So until we can demonstrate that something like a soul survives physical death, there is no reason to believe that the Ouija board is a way to communicate with the spirits
Right.
or entities or whatever. This has been Critical Junction, episode 54. I'm Mark.
I'm Mark without a soul.
I'm Luke's soul.
As always, thanks for listening, and until next time, keep thinking critically. Next time on Critical Junction.
So, Aleister Crowley was a real evil dick.
That's what a lot of people believe, but that's an image that was portrayed by the British yellow press, kind of like the tabloid of the era. He wasn't actually that bad of a dude. He just advocated for self-expression, freedom of doing what it is that you're best suited to do, and
I love peanut butter sandwiches!
More nasally. His voice was more nasally.
his voice was quite nasally.
His voice was quite nasally. And
Oh no!
Oh no!
Aleister Crowley.
That's next time on Critical Junction.